Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. I've been asked a lot of questions lately regarding OBS. Now, I just use a straight OBS. I don't use Streamlabs or any of the other recording utilities out there. It's kind of personal preference. But I wanted to take an opportunity to go through the settings, specifically around mic. Now, I have a lot of background noise. I have fans. I have a dog who sounds like thunder when she walks around. She's under me actually right now. But in order to filter a lot of that noise out, and you can do this with any microphone. It doesn't have to be. I use a particular microphone. It's a boom mic called it's a HyperX, which has its own built-in compressors. But you can do this with any standard mic. You'd even do it with a mic off of a headset. So I'm just going to cover and I'm going to go through each of the how I set my mic up, with the caveat that this is not going to work for everyone. The settings that I have specifically are specific to my microphone, to the background noise in my environment. But they should help you understand a little bit about how to set OBS up for your microphone and your equipment and your bandwidth, most importantly, if you're going to stream. So let's take a look. We'll just go from top to bottom, and under general, I didn't do a whole lot. In future videos, I may do some scenes and overlays and things of that. But today we're just focusing on microphone and sound. So through general settings, not a lot here. Same for appearance. There you do have different themes. For stream. Now I'm set up for both Twitch and YouTube. I typically leave these to auto recommended. You can adjust these accordingly if you find that they're not working for you. Those aren't going to be covered in this video. For output, now we are going to talk a lot about output. So under output, if you'll look at older videos, you'll hear CBR for encoding. OBS has now renamed that to constant bit rate. They actually just spell it out. So it still stays pretty much the same. I tend to use the constant bit rate, and I use a bit rate for recording at 3500 kbps. I do key interval sections. I set that to two seconds. For presets, this is going to be dependent on your video card and your CPU. You'll have to play around with that. My preset is P5, which is slow but good quality. For tuning, I have high quality. Multipass, I do 2 passes in full resolution and profile high, and then adaptive quantization with 2 B frames. On the recording tab, this is kind of important. So if you're a particular person when you're recording and you're worried about the OBS crashing, one of the things that you'll want to set is, and I can't do it now because I'm actually recording, is the encoder type, or I'm sorry, recording format. Now I record in MP4. I can't stop the recording, but in here there's another setting, and you'll look through. If you want to be able to deal with crashes and still be able to recover your video, say you've got a 2-hour recording, you want to set that to MKV format, which allows you to recover the recording. Normally I will do that. And then I let my studio software go through and piece it all back together. The other thing, as far as audio tracks, I just use one audio track. You can select multiple audio tracks. For encoder, I use the NVIDIA H.264. Again, this is going to be dependent on what type of graphic card you have, and then the path that you want the recordings to go to. For recordings, I use again the constant bit rate with a bit rate of 15,000. And I do 2 seconds on the keyframes. And again, I use the P5 setting with slow, good quality. And a tuning, I use the high quality. And then multipass, two passes. And then again, adaptive quantization, two frames. Under audio, I leave this alone. That's completely up to you what your audio rate is going to be. I just use the defaults. And then replay buffer, I don't do anything with that. Now let's look at audio. Audio is going to be specific to your device that's actually recording. You want to make sure you set that here, which here we're using the desktop audio. And then for your mic, you're going to just pick whatever microphone source you're using. And that can be multiple mics. It just depends on what you're doing and how your setup is. The decay rate I set to fast with simple peak. And then everything else is default. Under video, I use the 1920. If you've got a monitor, say you're streaming in 1080p, this is going to be important to make sure you match the aspect ratio. If you want the resolution of your stream to show up at a certain aspect or resolution, you might have to do some changing in here. But since I'm running and recording at 1920, I believe left those at default. And then the common my FPS is set to 60. More than enough for what I need to do. So one more in here I didn't get to. And then hotkeys, you can set those up if you want some hotkeys. I use Stream Deck, so I don't mess around with a lot of these. If you do have Stream Deck or you want to map certain keys for your different scenes, they can be done here, and that will be potentially covered in a later video. And then under advanced, I set process priority to above normal. And I'll show you some tricks on getting OBS more CPU so that you don't get your camera to lag behind or OBS to lag behind if you start to see some screen frame rates. I will cover that at the end of this video. But let's move forward. So we're done in settings. Now we want to go to our microphone. This is the meat. This is where we're really going to cover everything under audio. If you want to, as you're testing, you want to set whatever your active mic or your input source, you want to put that to monitor on. That way you can actually hear yourself. You can hear what the recording sounds like for all your different sources. Those are going to be important as you're testing just what you want your mic levels to be and make sure that they're working properly. But we're not going to do advanced. So we're going to click on the microphone again. We're going to go through and we're just going to go to filters. So under filters, one thing to recognize is these are actually passed through from top to bottom. So as a test, I'm just going to turn these off. So I'm going to pause for a minute and turn all these off, and you can hear the difference in my sound. All right. So as you'll notice now, you can hear my fingers tapping on the desk. You can hear noises. I'm picking up things and dropping them. I don't want that. I don't want to hear keyboard clacking or things like that. And you can hear my sound is different. Even though I have a compressor and EQ levels within the microphone itself, it's still noisy. It's nice to have hardware compression, but it's not perfect. So again, as I turn these on, I'm going to cover these one by one and we'll turn them on. Let's go ahead and turn all these back on. And you'll start to see I'm now typing my fingers. They're not, I'm doing all the same noises, and you'll notice that my microphone is no longer picking them up and my voice is back to the quality that I want. So let's cover these, and these are going to be in order. For noise suppression, you want to use the RN noise. It's a good quality, but it does use more CPU. Again, yeah, that's going to be left up to you. You can try the recommended settings I have, but remember, these levels are going to be different for you. Through gain, this is going to be according to your voice. It's going to be your mic. This is the overall gain that's going to add to your voice as it's coming out through the microphone. For noise gate, these are the close and thresholds. I set these at negative 32 dB, and my open threshold is minus 59. Again, you'll have to tweak with these when you want the mic open and how fast you want it to close. I use the attack time of 25 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds for a hold time, and release time of 150 milliseconds. Under 3-band equalizer, this is a small plugin. I'm sorry, it's out of the box. None of these are using any VTST plugins or any third-party software. I'm just using OBS. These are going to vary depending on what you want to sound like. So these are your high, your mid, and your low. Again, you can play with these in monitor mode. You can hear what they sound like. Get it to where you feel comfortable and you're happy with the settings. On the expander, I use a preset of expander. These are my ratio, my threshold, my attack, release, and again, my output gain. Since I'm using gain, I set this to 0. And then your detection type, and I use RMS. On the compressor, a lot of numbers here, but again, you don't have to know a whole lot about these. Just start with the base. You can start with this recording, and you can start to notice a difference between the ratio, threshold, attack, release, output. And then I don't use any ducking sources. But that's what actually compresses. It's the compressor engine that runs native to OBS that will actually help with the quality of your sound. And then the limiter. I set my threshold at minus 3 dB and a release of 60 milliseconds. So these all together, put together in order, created the sound that I was looking for. So let's move on to the next section. So the last thing I want to cover, as I promised, is how to give OBS more priority as you're actually running OBS and you're doing your recordings. As you'll notice, some games actually do the same thing for you during the install. But all I did, and it's not in there by default, you want to go under System, Display, and Graphics. And you just want to add a desktop app. Since mine's already in there, I'm not going to do that. But you click on that, it's going to allow you to browse. It'll bring up a browser window, a folder. You just want to browse to the OBS install, wherever it's installed on your particular drive. And you want to add the executable to this particular section under graphics. And you just want to set the GPU preferences to high performance. You want to optimize it for games. And then you want to click on accept or add. And that will it'll give more performance, more power to the Windows operating system to prioritize OBS. And that way, that should stop all the freezing and crashes or locks or frame drops by prioritizing OBS while you're doing your recordings. So that has helped me out immensely as far as OBS performance. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. Hopefully with those settings, you should be able to get the best recordings with the best sound for your particular system and get you well on your way to making your recording sound much more professional and get rid of some of that annoying background noise that uh, people can add to the recording as you're trying to record a video and your wife comes screaming in, yelling at you, and have her filtered out. So hopefully this helps you go forward and set up great recordings. And I hope you found this useful. If you did find it useful, please hit the like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to start doing more tips for content creators. Just some of the things I've learned. I've been doing this for 10 years and helping your recordings. Upcoming videos are going to be on video analytics if you're a YouTube streamer, how to understand your metrics and your views, click throughs, and what all that stuff means of how you're either keeping your audience's attention or you're losing them. So look for that in an upcoming video. I've actually recorded it. I just haven't dropped it. And I'm going to start this in a new playlist. It's just going to be called Content Creator. So look forward to the upcoming video and all the tips, all the tricks that I've learned just putting this together. And again, follow, subscribe, uh, thumbs up if you like this video, and go out there and create some great content. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.